Today we are here to celebrate the launch of Max. I know everyone's super excited about it, whether you're a customer, potential customer, fanatic, fan, person of the industry or MachineMetrics. Um, and so I'm just gonna quickly dive into the slides. Oh, wow, that's an interesting slide there. As you know, there are two of us, and we are your presenters. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Graham Immerman. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at MachineMetrics. So I oversee the sales, marketing, and customer operations teams. I've been here for like a while, a decade. And what's really funny is that a decade ago, it was 2015. That really shows you how long ago 2000, year 2000 was. I remember when I started at MachineMetrics, it was just a couple engineers, and roughly a few handful of customers. Today, we're on every continent. We've got hundreds of customers all over the world that use our AI-driven MES to improve their operations and productivity. And I am excited to be joined by my co-host, uh, friend, consigliere, partner in crime, Rutherford Wilson.
That's right. I'm Graham's ride or die.
Ride or
Uh,
die.
Very nice to meet you all. And my job is to make Graham shake his head. We're not on Antarctica. That's a shake. Rutherford shakes his head.
Patrick.
We're gonna get there, with the penguins and everything. Anyway, the point is, my name is Rutherford Wilson, Chief Product Officer here. Really glad to talk to you guys today about Max. I've been with MachineMetrics for about 3 years, and really excited to, be in this journey of helping customers become more efficient. So there's a handful of things we're going to show you today. We're going to show you real life product working. Probably around now. We've turned on Max for more customers. So there's a handful of customers that saw it in preview mode. And last week, you probably should have seen an interface change. So you guys got a view of the new version. But more customers are going to be there to show you that are going to have access to it for the first time. So we're going to walk through a little bit about what the MachineMetrics is, what we're doing, our philosophy, how we think about problem solving. And Graham's going to take all that. And then I'm going to show you some of the innards of how Max works.
Oonce, as the kids say. And yes, for all the questions, Patrick, you beat me. I spared you the joke that we are not in Antarctica, but please, Lord, find me a machine I can connect you there so I can stop making that joke. Zoolander's not presenting this in this meeting, but as Dustin said, we're really here just to show you that there is more going on at MM than being really, 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 really ridiculously good looking. And so that's perfect. Agenda. We're going to talk a little about who we are. There's a lot of people here who don't know us, right? And we're not going to beleaguer the whole event with, a long sales pitch on who we are, but it is important to set the stage. Talking about the execution gap, we're going to introduce you to Max, right? We've got a number of components that we're launching today. Max itself is a never-ending product, meaning that there will continue to be more features, more functionality, more capabilities every day as we move forward. And so we're going to introduce you to the principles of Max and some of the launch features that are available to you, as well as what's coming, including some glorious pieces like our K Hub, Knowledge Hub, and then we're going to take a QA. It's already rowdy in the chat, which is just the best. We've got the best people in the world here. Just some reminders for the group. This webinar is being recorded. God help me. So everything I say here is on the record. So that's good. Two, please talk amongst yourselves. The chat, right? Go ahead. There's a Q&A section as well. Some of you discovered that when we learned that the chat was not enabled. So, but if you do have questions throughout the webinar, feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A section. We will do our best to get to all of them. I promise. And then, when you do get the recording of this webinar, you can then distribute it or watch it on repeat or any of the numerous jokes they make about recording a webinar that you could do with it when it's done. Okay. Let's get started. So quote. This is actually a quote from our CEO, Bill. Um, Manufacturing doesn't fail at planning, it fails at execution. We get it, right? We've got these systems and we've got this grand master plan, right? All these orders come in. We in reality, right, on the shop floor, it disrupts that plan. We got breakdowns, right? Setups, they run over. Materials, they don't get to where we want them to on time. We've got all this tribal knowledge that exists in our heads, and it overrides the logic of these pre-built, systems. And this disconnect between what we thought was going to happen and what happens, we call the execution gap, and we think it's the number one thing that is killing productivity on the shop floor. Enter us, the solution, MachineMetrics. We're solving that problem. We do that by connecting these two layers of the business, the planning and the execution. Some people call that MES. Some call it God's work. Other people call it intelligent execution powered by MachineMetrics. Our software connects data from what's happening in the factory floor, your machines and your processes, your ERP, what's expected to happen, and incorporates knowledge, information that exists either in the heads of people or SOPs and processes. We ingest all that information in real time, and then we analyze it and we present it and connect it with the right people at the right time so they can execute work faster and better than ever before. And we're really good at that. Um, this slide we call a humble brag. I remember when none of these people were our customers. But today, like I mentioned, outside of Antarctica, Patrick, we have customers all over the world that use our software. And it's not just, these global companies that you see on the slide, but we've got mom and pop job shops all the way up to, these, leaders that use our software to drive productivity and the execution of work across their global sites. Um, and and here's why. Just right off the bat, MachineMetrics is by far the world leader in getting data from machines. We're very focused in discrete manufacturing vertical. Most of our customers do, turning, milling, stamping, fabrication, injection molding, cold heading, lasers, grinders, welders, robots, cobots, manual welders, belt sanders, chillers, you name it. I've never said that list before, so you can tell that I knew all those off the top of my head. The gist here is that all these machines speak different languages. And our software has call it like the not just universal connectivity of those assets, but we then transform all that data into a common data model. And this is critical when we're getting into the AI portion of the presentation because there was a time where companies said, "Hey, give me your dirtiest, nastiest data, and we'll lap AI on top of that." And I call BS on that. I'd say, I don't want shitty data. I want perfect, clean, normalized, perfect data because that makes it far easier for me to understand what's happening on my factory floor. And we've made that incredibly easy for discrete manufacturers, including your older machines. Not only do we have plug and play connectivity for Empty Connect, OPC UA, Focus Protocol, Ethernet IP, Modbus TCP, ingesting data via your MQTT. But we also have really specific machine connectors that we've designed for assets that don't even support those types of machines. And that's incredibly valuable for you because it allows you to stop spending all your time making the data make sense and more time querying it to get answers. We've also recently launched, if you were on our webinar previously, we've launched our manual station tracking that allows it to capture data from your non-machining processes, assembly, quality checks, manual presses, welding, grinding. If you didn't watch that webinar, go watch it. It was awesome. Guess who hosted it? That guy and this guy. And you probably will hear virtually all the same jokes. So my apologies. Now, understanding what's happening on our machines is only half the battle because most importantly, if you really want to be able to query our data and say, hey, well, what's going on in my factory and what can I do about it? we need to have the operational context to that information. And that context for many of us exists in the ERP. And so we had to solve that problem too. And so we built connectors that allowed us to not just pull work orders, work order operations, routings, total part number that you need produced, and quantities, due dates, start dates, etc. And instead of popping that into some spreadsheet, that's right, Jinwell, instead of that, right, we ingest all that information from the ERP. Now, we also have the ability to write back to that ERP. I'll tell you why that's really important momentarily. But the key here is that when you have access to data from the ERP and data from your factory floor, you can initiate manufacturer execution for core 4 MES capabilities. We can not only schedule and track our work bidirectionally with our ERP, but we can also use it to analyze how well we're doing, tracking downtime, tracking OEE, gaining real-time production analytics to help us understand how well we're doing when we're doing it. And we use all that information to help our customers execute work faster and more efficiently than ever before. And they don't necessarily need to rebuild the wheel from scratch. They can use our software that has hundreds of pre-built capabilities and they can configure it at their fingertips for their own unique needs. From a downtime tracking perspective, we do this amazingly. I'll skip through this part really quickly, but the gist is that we have automated downtime categorization engines and operator interfaces that allow you to get the full context of what's going on so you can quickly identify what your production bottlenecks are. We automate OEE analytics by parsing program headers, understanding what operations are running at any given moment, comparing those against standards or the baseline standards that our software produces, so you can instantly garner how well we're doing, when we're doing it, on which operations, without requiring that you have an operator enter that information into your system. Our dynamic scheduling software allows us to ingest those work orders that typically go into some sort of spreadsheet or Kanban board. And we then have a dispatch system that uses real-time data from the machines to constantly analyze your dispatched work and presents back to you exactly what's going on. Are we going to hit our due dates? Are we going to hit our milestones? And if not, what can we do about it? Our ETTC calculations, which are called like Google Maps, letting you know when you're going to arrive on time, tells you exactly what's going on and even suggest ways that you can improve your scheduled work and dispatch it better, making adjustments on the fly with a drag and drop interface so you can improve reduce your WIP and improve your ability to deliver on time for your customers. And lastly, and not least, with our job tracking work order management software, we've taken over the front line and we're making it super easy, Apple-like experience for our operators to actually track work. The last thing we want is a mosaic of interfaces around an operator, right? We want a single place that they can do all the work, clock in, clock out, receive dispatched work orders from MachineMetrics that came from your ERP, track that work order execution, right? Annotate downtime events, receive work order information, something that we're going to get into in Rutherford's part of the presentation, all of which allows us to automate the propagation of labor tickets that bidirectionally integrate with your ERP. And anyone who says that just pulling data from the ERP is good enough, it isn't. Yes, Yuri, you are going to have access to the recorded video after, for better or for worse, for my sake. Probably better for you, worse for me. And then obviously the last thing is this acts as a communication vessel. Many of our customers use that frontline system to communicate in real time, whether it's clicking a button that allows you to automate a work order in your CMMS, or submit a labor ticket back to your ERP, or simply say, I need programming help. You can also receive information there at that interface. One place for the operator to engage. Of course, all this data flows up into enterprise insights, multi-plant aggregations, multi-plant comparisons. The data that we capture goes all the way up to the multi-plant level, to the plant level, to the machine level, to the individual unit level, all the way up and down your company. All that data in a perfect queryable format. Now, we're here today to talk about the evolution of that information, right? We have this perfect data, we have this perfect structured data from ERP systems, from our machines, from our assembly processes. Well, we all know that the power of AI is far more than just a dashboard or a report. The goal is to help people execute that work faster and better than ever before. And that's what we're here to talk about. With our recent launch of Max, we're bringing intelligence to every step of that execution process because we own it now. Max is built into the MachineMetrics platform, and it powers our real-time MES to unify data from that machine, ERP, and tribal knowledge. Max has the ability to guide your team through daily execution. It can augment daily tasks. It can automate production tasks. The goal here is to keep people focused on what you do best, making stuff. And we can do the rest to make your life much easier. Now, with that, I'd like to introduce my cohort, Rutherford. Rutherford, the baton is yours.
Sure.
Talk about Max.
All right. So, thanks for the big introduction to kind of ground everyone where all this data is coming from and how it can be used. Now that Max has access to all this information, I want to walk you through some of the things that you can do with it. So we talk about empowering people and automating work. Really, automation of work is like a spectrum. It's a set of processes that can augment what you're doing, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the continuous improvement the continuous improvement agents that we've built that we're launching today. And we're going to talk about how it can automate some of your processes. And I'll talk about our shift handover that's coming in the next week or two. The way that we think about how to use Max is we want to help you get your jobs to be done, completed with less work than what you're doing before.
In
And
time.
where automation can be done, we want to automate that work for simple steps. Always want to have a human in the loop that's needed to make it work. So those are the things we're going to be talking about today. I don't need a show of hands, but a number of people on this call, I think I can see a handful of people on this call. We've previewed Max starting in, I think, July or maybe early August. And so some people have had access to it as back then, as we've been manipulating and changing it. Max has, had a new interface now. And so I want to walk you first through that interface. Graham, what's the next slide on this presentation? Okay, yeah. So we're going to walk through a couple things. But before I go into the demos, I just want to talk about some of the things you're going to see today in today's launch. So first of all, we think continuous improvement. So let me give you a philosophy. Continuous improvement is not just the job of the continuous improvement manager or that person that has that job. We believe everyone should be involved in that process. And so the initial product that we have that's being launched today is our continuous improvement agent, where anyone can go to Max in our basic interface and ask questions about what are things that are happening. So really from, instead of just having dashboards that show you a lot of data points, this can create charts for you dynamically. It can create tables for you dynamically, and it can answer questions looking at your ERP data and your historical information. It is really the key thing about surfacing bottlenecks that may have occurred, monitoring your on-time delivery and predicts where there's risks that are happening. And so these are information that anybody in the shop floor can have access to optimize their work that needs to be done. So I'm going to walk you through some examples of how that works. Next slide. The other thing that we're going to walk through today is our shift handovers. We believe that in order to get behavioral changes on your shop floor, we want to give you some tools that sort of, kind of a semi-automation process. And so many of our customers, many of you guys collect shift notes on the shop floor right now, and maybe you're writing into a little black book. Are you schedule like an hour crossover time between first shift and second shift so they can communicate? Well, we're providing an AI-driven tool that can give you guidance of how to do that. So every operator, when they clock out for the day in our system, we're going to give them a digital way for them to add notes and see their performance. And then that information is then handed off to the next operator that's working on those same machines with their where those notes are relevant to. So it's a way of automating certain steps. So we're going to walk you through how AI is used to generate this particular process. And the final slide.
Yep, there
Uh,
it is.
and this is big. This is Knowledge Hub. That's another feature that's launching today. When Graham walked through the introduction, he talked about all these different data sources that we are pulling into the system. One is obviously real-time machine data. The next one is going to be ERP data. There's a handful of customers that have been incorporated with their CMMS system with us, and we pull that data in. But the other part of the data is your knowledge, your tribal knowledge. So there's information associated with how you work in particular. That could be your SOPs, it could be various different work instructions, it could be your diagrams. It could be short little clips of information that you don't want to be lost, like shift notes, for example, little pieces of information that you want to make sure can be retrieved dynamically. We had a customer, this customer's in the UK, where we're kind of walking them through what we're planning on building with this. And they said this would have saved us 8 hours last night. The use case that we're driving for is in their particular case, there is a problem that occurred on one of their machines that created a fault. And they've seen this fault before, but it was several months ago. And the operator on third shift didn't know what it was. And it's third shift, so all the experts are, home sleeping. And so that operator could not move forward and they lost, that shift's worth of production time. With the Knowledge Hub, you'll be able to store that information and then the operator can retrieve that information when they're starting up a job or when they start up for that day. They can say, hey, you're working on this machine and you're working on this job. This is what happened last time. Please be aware. And this is how you can solve it. Or when the fault occurs, we can pull back from the Knowledge Hub information about this. So it really is taking, we call it tribal knowledge, but it's just information about that's unique to you that now gives Max access to it. So we're going to walk you through some examples of how that can work, and I'll show you some things that I've created to walk through that experience. I think there's one more slide over here after Knowledge Hub.
I think you're right. It's another picture of Knowledge Hub.
Yeah, it's a picture of Knowledge. Okay, we're going to show you what it looks like, but kind of walk you through, basically centralized location for all this documents, proactive agent insights we're going to go through, and just really bringing this context. And so it's really powerful information that really combines with all of your real-time data and your ERP information to give you a more of a 360 view of what's happening and how to solve it in real time. Okay, and we're going to come back to this at the end once I get through a couple presentations on this particular slide.
You
So why
got
don't
it.
I take over the screen here and start giving a demo? But if there's any questions that people have, just go ahead and throw them into the
I'm
chat.
attacking them with fury, Rutherford.
Anything you want to call out before I get started?
I'm just calling out that our CTO Jacob just happens to be stepping in the chat. What's
Oh, look at
up,
that.
Jacob? Glad to see you dropping support articles into the chat in the webinar.
Okay,
So
and I
you're good
saw
to go,
George.
Rutherford. I'll keep answering as you go forth.
Yeah, George, he's used Max. He's one of our customers, so it's great. So let me just go ahead and share my screen and sort of walk you through some very basic structures associated with how Max sort of works. So let's go here. All right. So one of the things with Max is we anonymize a lot of our data. Sometimes when we give demos, so there's a handful of customers that allow us to anonymize their data and show it for demonstrations. With Max, it's difficult to do that. So I'm going to be using sort of a demo workshop to show the data associated with that information. So this is not going to be real data that you might see, but I want to show you the basic process associated with it. So the first thing about Max that if you've used Max in the previous months, you would have noticed about a few days ago that there's a change. When you click on Max AI over here, and let me just expand this out, you can see it says Max AI. Instead of saying preview, it now says new. And when you click on it, instead of as a pop-up, it shows up here as a sidebar. Now, this is really important for the future of Max and some of the things we're going to do because eventually Max is going to control this interface. And we're going to spend some more time talking about that. But it's nice that it shows up as a sidebar. And this is really a toggle to turn it on and turn it off. And, one of the cool things that the engineering team pulled in, it's got these little, fun little welcome statements that it comes up with each time. So crunch now, cheer soon. Okay, great. We're in crunch mode. So that's just one component of it. But the other part of it is for those customers who have been using Max, you could type in information, but if you refreshed your screen, any chat that you had previously was erased. I mean, that happened to me and I was very frustrated. Did that happen to you, Graham?
Yes, totally paying attention to you right now.
I'm saying with Max during the preview days, you would type in a chat and then if you
Oh
refresh
yeah.
the screen, it's gone. It's like
Oh, like yeah, and it's gone. Yeah,
it's
all the
and
time.
it's gone. Okay. So first of all, with this new interface, what we've incorporated is your conversations. So I can see previous conversations that I've loaded up. I can make it full screen. And I can go through and see all the data that I had in. And so I can pull up these conversations from a week ago, from previous days. All this information kind of comes through. So it makes it really effective for me to get back and pick up where I left off on conversations that maybe I'm working on. So first of all, so that's one thing. And the way we've incorporated into the application is I can go max screen, as I just showed you here. It can shrink back into the sidebar. Um, and you can access additional conversations in this way. And so it makes it a lot easier for you to access and manage your conversation. So that's one very big change that we're introducing is these conversations associated with the data. So you can have a constant thread about how you're asking various different questions. So we really think that that's a really good change. And we really encourage customers who have access to it to play around with this to see how it works for you. So that's really important. So that's number one. Now, as you noticed here, let me go full screen here. Max can build tables, but let me go back to another conversation that I had, and I think it was this one. Max can build charts.
Rutherford,
Uh,
I'm going to pause you really quick.
sure.
Just in the chat, seeing as we have such a great chat, how many of you use like tools like this every day in your other life, like ChatGPT, Claude, whatever? Well, just out of curiosity, you drop your answers in the chat. Rutherford, go on.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna actually read these questions
Oh my God, so many.
every day, every day. Oh my gosh, every day, all the time. This is the thing that why it was really important for us to get this out early is the world has gone to using these tools, but the tools like ChatGPT or Claude, they don't have access to all of your machine data. And so asking questions about continuous improvement or like daily part production, daily downtime analysis, that's sort of the benefit because you have this real-time machine data that you can ask these questions about and get answers instantly about what's going on. That's the real power of combining all these data sources into a single view. One of the questions that I asked it earlier, and I believe it's here. Um, okay, yeah, oh, I haven't asked it. All right, so this is my OE number but I can ask a number of different questions. Let me go ahead and ask a question here, which is what are my active machining orders? Okay, so
You're so organized with your questions over there.
I am trying to give a good demo. And so the nice thing, since you guys are using these tools every day, we wanted to tie into them so you can access these tools and use them as part of your shop, your workday. So you can ask questions. And so it has all the same access to tools like ChatGPT has access to, but now it has access to your machining data. And so that's really powerful where it can answer these questions and really drive these answers. So I'm going to let this one continue answering some questions as I go through some other demos that we have instead of Max. One of the things that I am going to walk you through is the ways that you can use some of the charts that are generated. So I'm going to click on my weekly performance sheet where I have a series of charts being produced here. And so I hope everyone's tried to play around with different charts. I'm going to grab this pie chart. And one of the things, it does take a
Rutherford, can I just pause you really quick? The TLDR for those the non-users is Max can generate charts for you. You just have to say, "Hey, Max, show me this." In my query threads, oftentimes Max will just ask me, "Would you like me to make this a chart for you?" So I don't actually usually have to ask it, but just for those users, it can generate these charts. Just as a heads
yeah,
up.
Yeah, actually, I want to, thanks for double clicking on that, Graham, because I skipped past this because I think it's old hat now. I just want to be super clear. You can create a chart just by using language. It doesn't have to be a chart that we've ever built before in Machine Metrics. It doesn't have to be something that it knows how to build. And we're going to be adding some additional charting capabilities as we go forward. But the real power here is you can ask Max to build you a chart exactly the way you want it. And I think that that's hugely powerful. Um, so no longer you have to worry about some charts that are, pre-built and can only show the data in certain ways. You can say, I want the data and I want it to organize it in this way automatically. So that's a really good point for Graham. Thank you for underscoring that particular point. It's I use my words, and my words can have impact now in using Max. But the other thing is I want to point you out to this little button over here. So this little button is cool, the one next to it, and this one's the cool button. I don't want to ignore it. This is the download button, so you can download a picture of the chart. But this button right here is even more powerful. And I want to show you how this one works. All right, so I'm going to click this button to copy this information. Let me walk you through what that powerful of this button does. I'm going
Well,
to go
for
to
a question just popped in, so you can silent. I'm going to queue you up for this. Can I take that generated chart and put it on a dashboard? It's like, I swear I didn't pay that person to
you
do that.
paid this person. Come on. Come
I
on. All right.
I just slipped them like $1.
So who asked that question?
I don't know, anonymous attendee. You know that guy?
Anonymous attendee. I don't know that guy.
Yeah, you do.
But he's
No, you
around.
don't.
He gets around. Anonymous attendee gets around. So I'm going to copy that. I click that button to copy some information from the chart. I'm going to create a new dashboard here. I'm just going to add a widget. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a chart script widget. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to paste the script that I just copied into here and then hit save. And all I need to do is give it a timescale. And
Oh,
yeah, the chart pops up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and save it. And now I have a totally brand new invented chart that I created through Max, and I've added it. Now it can be part of a reporting structure from here on out. It doesn't need to use.
Ford, I need to pause you because the awe of as our CTO once said, did you just generate a widget?
I just generated a widget on the fly
Holy shit.
dynamically.
Holy crap. Okay. That's insane. All right, keep going.
And it's parameterized, so I can put updates to it. And so so now I can I can schedule a report on this. I can send the report now. I can add new widgets to it, so I can keep going. I mean, I've got this widget that I've added to it, but I also created this downtime analysis chart. So let me grab that one too. I'm gonna hit the plus button here, chart script.
People, you can see how quickly, right, this is going to evolve, right? Within a very short period of time, you're not going to need, right, to even, essentially have a chart script, right? Just with a single click, you'll be able to put those on a dashboard. But, we wanted to get this in your hands as fast as possible.
Exactly. So, the idea of having multiple clicks is not we're not a fan of that. But now it's animated, it's dynamic, and it's all something that I just created through Max. And now I can give this dashboard a name. It's my test in this case. And there it is, saved. So I can use this going forward. And it just remembers it. So it's a really cool solution in Max to generate content dynamically and be able to propose it and then share it with others. That's the whole point of Max. I can email this and share it with lots of other people on my team. But yeah, more questions.
My hand was up, you literally just like read my mind, of course, which was like, say I want to get this in my team's inbox every morning, or like, Nick Coleman question, say I want to send, the top cycle time analytics that are not accurate, right, for our group back to our finance team so they can better, adjust our standards so we can quote better, or, say I want to send, like develop a widget that tracks all of our, work orders and when they're going to be delivered on time, right? Uh, you know, those could help my finance team, for example, know when orders are going to go out so we can know when money is going to be coming in, right? But there are hundreds of different use cases for a finance team, but usually the time, effort, and resources they spend actually having to have people build this information for them is now all available. And for those of you Arrested Development watchers, when they say the money's in the banana stand, the money for manufacturers is in the factory floor, right?
Hmm.
And all you need is to unearth that.
Right. And so you can ask questions about, how much WIP do I have here? And if you can even tell Max, assume the cost of the burden rate is $100 per machine. What is the value of what is the cost that I'm spending on the amount of unplanned downtime that I have? And so it can parameterize all this information. And then of course you can build a chart, build a widget, and then you can schedule that email to go, either every day at 9 a.m., whatever frequency you need to have this information in. And so it's really a really nice way of communicating this information. I'm at a customer site today, and one of the things during their Gemba walk that they reminded everyone is, they're running a very lean team, and it's really important that they communicate. And so MachineMetrics, we're building these tools to help facilitate that communication, to make it as automatic and as real time as possible, and then giving better tools to identify what you want to communicate. So those are just one of the connective tissues I wanted to show you with what we've launched today with Max. So just to kind of recap a couple of things before I move on to the next topic, is so first of all, let me just back up a little bit here and close Max and open up this dashboard here. So Max pops up on the sidebar here and shows you all your different conversations that you want to have and gives you the ability to create new conversations. Has nice little high feeling, so it makes you feel nice and warm and fuzzy on the inside when you get greeted by Max. We like to be a friendly software company. But with these different conversations that you have, you can retrieve conversations and be able to view these tables. Or when we were viewing various different performance sheets or graphings, you can take these widgets that are just brand new created widgets and add them to a dashboard for easy communication or reporting. So those are just some of the number of things that Max can do.
Okay, Rutherford, I'm going to keep driving you forward because we got so much more to show, and
We
it's
do.
already 1:42. But just prompt to the audience, not a chat prompt, but a prompt that you could then use in the chat. Um, Whoever's been using Max, drop your favorite prompts in the webinar chat. All right. I will post mine in there also, but I know there's a lot of Max users. So show me your favorite prompts and share them with the audience. Okay, Rutherford, you keep going.
I'm gonna build my prompt here as I start talking about a few other things. Build me a continuous invoice.
While you're doing that, a question is is around heavily on operator input. The answer to that is absolutely not, Jameson. Not necessarily. The majority of MachineMetrics users really don't require operator input at all because we have that automated downtime classification. We make that super easy to get downtime reason codes. Our APM or automated production monitoring technology makes it so we can get cycle time analysis without requiring any operator entry at all. All the real-time data we get from the machines themselves, alarm codes, program states, all that's essentially collected autonomously. So we don't necessarily need operator input. And a great example for that also would be tool efficiency, for example, because we're connected to the machine themselves and the tool counters. One of the use cases within MachineMetrics is tool life monitoring, which we have built out, and it's an amazing feature for our customers. And we can essentially track the tool life on all your different tools and deliver that to operators in the form of guidance. And we're going to show you what some of that guidance looks like momentarily. But it's a really great question.
It's a very good question. So I'm going to go to Knowledge Hub. And so that's what you're seeing here. It's a Knowledge Hub. I've uploaded one document. I wanted to point you out to something that as an admin, I see as a MachineMetrics employee. I want to show you two concepts here. One is I'm showing you, okay, so this is my account. It's my scheduling workshop. So this would be, your account that you'd see. And you can upload documents that are going to be your tribal knowledge. And so that process is pretty straightforward. You can either drag and drop into this area. I'm just going to go ahead and select it. I'm going to grab a particular file here. I'm going to upload again, actually. It's called a relevant number document, and I'll talk about what that is. And I can continue uploading, but you can show you the processing of that file and that it's processed. And then you can click on it. We convert the file into a format that you can then read through and see. And this is the information that is available to Max AI to do this. And so I'm going to come back to some of the particulars about why I'm showing you this particular document. But you can upload work instructions, you can diagrams, and when you upload diagrams, one of the features that we're going to be building a connectivity tissue to is on job start. When we know the part number for the job, because that's, if we see the part number that's identified and there's diagrams associated with that, we can surface that information to the operator dashboard. And so that's going to be a feature coming soon. But those are the power of the Knowledge Hub, where you can upload all of this different information and documentation, and then we can access it as part of the flow of building parts. So starting a job, you can see diagrams, documentation, or an alarm gets fired off, I can see the alarm documentation. And so what we're doing here, this is where you see the account information, but with MachineMetrics, there's also the concept of a shared knowledge hub. So this is the information that we are curating, that we're uploading data to. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is we already know a lot of alarm data states for a number of the machines that we manage, Heidenheim, Citizen, Brother, obviously FANUC-controlled machines. And so as a part of our process, we're uploading a series of documentation that is all going to be shared, that's public information, that instantly gives you more information about what's happening with your machine. And so one of the use cases that you'll see, coming, that's going to be available in the next couple of months through Max, is this use case where an alarm goes off. We got some of the alarm code. We're going to search the Knowledge Hub, and we're going to search our shared knowledge as well as your proprietary knowledge, your tribal knowledge, and then give you not just the interpretation of what that alarm means, but also instructions about how to resolve it. And so it's all going to be AI generated. And that's really the power of us being able to curate information. So you don't have that, so you don't have a cold start to work with. And then the power of you being able to upload your own documentation. Now, with the Ruther number, the reason why I use this particular document is it's what I'm calling a run book. This is a piece of information or a process that I've described. And so what I've described here is I created this totally fake number called the Ruther number. There's no such thing as a Ruther number because I have a very weird name and just smashing number on it. And I'm basically giving it a set of calculations. Now, very high level wise, so you don't have to read this. It's the number of machines times 10,000 with a reference guide terms out of the classification of those machines based on the number. That's all I've done. And I've described this in a document, and then I've uploaded to Max. Now, when I go into Max and I ask it, what's my Ruther number? It's going to go through here and it's going to say, my Ruther number is 40,000. I've got 4 machines running. It's 40,000. It's going to explain this and give you the source of it, but it's going to run through those calculations. Now, I wanted to show you this. It's a very simple version of this, but this is the power of the Knowledge Hub. I could upload a documentation that says, calculate the confidence interval associated with all of my individual cycle times for a particular part, and identify what is the highest confidence price or quote that I should use for this job. You can create that as a run book, describe the formula that you want to use, and then when you upload it to your Knowledge Hub, you can access that and it'll run through the calculation every time. And that's really powerful. So it gives you a lot more control about not just using a random calculation for doing cost analysis, but it's your exact process for doing cost analysis. That's what, so when we say tribal knowledge, you can go as deep as that. This is the way that we do our calculations, and I want Max to know about that.
Now, Rutherford, what other types of documents would our customers want to upload into the K-Hub, and why?
Well, there's a whole bevy of documents, but the easy ones is going to be diagrams, work instructions, alarm codes that are specific to their certain types of machines. They can also upload processes associated with how to close out and do and manage process. I mean, these are SOPs. So there's a whole round of range of that. But the other piece of it that I think is important, and this goes back to the use case of how this problem was solved before, those are learnings. And I classify them as learnings, is you can upload a document that has a one-line item and says, we learned this. When running this machine on this particular job, here's a learning that we have. And now when that job runs again, we can identify that and we can show these learnings to the operator. I saw a question come in.
Rutherford, yeah, the attendee got my drift with where I was trying to drift you, uh, which was, but who would need that information and when?
Yeah. Oh, so the when is this is the nice part about Max. When we tie everything together, and this is where we're gonna go to one of the other slides, is we have other agents that we're building, and the operator agent. I'm going to show you a snippet of what we're launching today, but the operator needs to have that information accessible instantly as they're running jobs. So if you think about it, at job start is the when, the who is the operator, and then retrieving that information, those diagrams, those work instructions, and those learnings in real time when that happens. Another when is when an alarm gets fired off. We can access and pull this information. There's a question I see here, which is there ways to keep this information from going public? Jacob, can you answer that question about some of our security that we have
Yeah,
here?
and while you do that, just and Rutherford, while you move into the AI-driven guidance for the front line, which would you like me to pull up that slide so you can speak to that?
No, I'm actually going to jump to this particular example to give you an
Oh,
example.
word, you're going to show it to them for real. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm going to show it to them. So for an example, one of the ways that we can use AI to show this information is shift handovers. So I'm going to walk you through the process. When an operator is signing out for the day, we ask them the question, are they clocking out for the entire day? Are they gone for the day? So end of shift is the use case. And so at the end of shift, we want to show them some simple information about their day. We understand all the different machines that they worked on. We know how many jobs they worked on. We know how many parts they built and what their reject rate was. We also know if they met rate. So we're just showing some basic information. But we can also ask them to add notes. And they can use a microphone to add the note and just talk to the machine. And the nice thing about this is when they just talk to the machine and tell us what's going on, we can save that information, and then AI is going to be used to process this. Now, AI is also being used to generate the notes at the first case scenario when you show that screen. But since I'm moving very quickly, since we're getting to the opposite time, now I've used AI to kind of take my language that I've put in there and organize this information. And now I have automated a process where AI is being used to help an operator commit notes to their commit notes for the day. And so they can just submit and then can clock out and they're done. So that's a really nice process. Do you like that process, Graham?
I do.
Then let's
Uh,
complete it, shall we?
yeah, let's take it to the next level.
Let's take it to the next level. So when you sign in, I sign in as Carlos. Since I have access to all of your ERP data, I know what work are the schedule information. I know what work is Carlos is working on across these two machines that he's going to be working on today. And so I can show him what his day is going to look like. But now I can take the notes that were from previous shifts and communicate that information to him. So now I've analyzed that process about how communication needs to be done, and I've digitized it so I can share information at the start of the shift to the next operator. And so, this doesn't replace any kind of a crossover time that you would have for first shift and second shift, but it should reduce it because it gives you a digital way of communicating this information from one employee to the next employee. And so now, since we have a little bit more time, let me stop my share and why don't you go back to those slides and go to the next slide, the coming soon slide. Okay, so our next area of focus is going to be really stuff for the frontline operator. So production management and surfacing these real-time issues on that operator dashboard. Our firm belief is if we can give operators more information about how to manage their day and do their work without getting in their way, without forcing them to click and do all the stuff, but help them, plan out their day and get their job done, then that's the powerful use of AI. And so there's a number of different use cases that we're planning to come out for that. So shift handover is the one that's going to be launched in the next couple of weeks. We're testing it out with customers this week. And then, so if you actually want to be part of that shift handover testing, just go ahead and send an email. Graham, should I send, we'll send an email to MachineMetrics. We'll say at support@MachineMetrics and it'll get to me. And so you can test it out. But there's going to be other tools. The use case for an alarm gets fired, and we want to pull historical information about what happens with that alarm in that machine. That's going to be tied in here. But the whole goal is to give AI tools to the frontline operator to help, whether they're a station operator or a machinist, to help them get their job done and making sure that they don't have to click around all over the place so we can be smart about it. The next really powerful job that's coming soon is for the scheduling world. Everyone here has probably used either Google Maps or Apple Maps to navigate on their phone. One of the cool things that happens is if there's an accident somewhere in your path ahead of you, what does Google Maps do? Graham, what does it do for you?
It tells you when you're going to get there on time.
Yeah, and it
Ah.
tells you, is this the best path to get
Oh,
there?
that's true. It does do that. You're right.
Yeah. And so for the shop floor scheduling, if you've seen our dispatch system, it really does help you identify what's the estimated time to get a job done. But using AI, we're going to analyze that system and then identify, is this the best path for you? Is the way that you scheduled your work based on all the real-time changes, the unplanned downtime, the operator called out for the day, or material not coming in, inventory not coming in and being prepped ready. You have to move things around. With all those real-time things that happen, what Max is going to do is analyze that schedule like every hour or every 2 hours, and then tell you, hey, is this the best path for you to maximize your on-time delivery and minimize your setups? And so it's going to let you know that and then offer you a way to optimize it. And so those are some of the things that are coming soon in terms of the scheduling and for the operator frontline operating. And then,
No, Rutherford, I just want to pause you really quick here because
yeah,
what is the TLDR here, right? It is that every day, right, our frontline, whether it's our operators, whether it's our schedulers, whether it's our production engineers, supervisors, they have daily tasks that they have to do, right, that are part of executing work, right? Because MachineMetrics as an MES has essentially is the control system for that, and now is where your people will operate within. Max enhances all those different experiences with AI, meaning when an operator clocks in for the day, we can automate showing them exactly what happened on the shift before, right? When they're about to start a job, we can deliver them the instructions to set up that job, right? When it's time to clock out, we can provide an easier annotation for them so they can then provide those notes to the next person, right? And remind them how to clean up their their little place on the factory floor as well, if that's part of your SOPs or processes, right? So we can, when it's a scheduler, right? We can tell them when to make adjustments. The gist here is that in these moments, right, of execution, this is where AI can really be helpful, right? Is letting the right people know not just what they need to do, but untribalizing certain knowledge and processes and insights to the right people at the right time so they can do their jobs better and faster, right? And so Max not only is an analytics engine, right, but he uses all that information, right, to deliver that and help those people do their work faster and better.
exactly.
That's the TLDR that I wanted to make sure that we hit over the head with this presentation.
And you hit it over the head. Its head is now hurting.
Its head has now been hit. So so we've reached like the end of the webinar. Obviously, we could have presented, I don't know, hours more of content here.
It's
Uh,
deep.
but I just wanted to pause for the Q&A. We got tons of questions that were coming in, such as like, would work instructions be accessible on the operator dashboard? Yup. You got it. They would be. There were a lot of security questions around this information. We've been trying to answer those through through like the chat. There was a great question that came in around like prompting individuals to make adjustments, right? That's all part of the genuine, like we call it, like workflow capabilities of Max. Um, I think another question that came in, I just want to quickly answer, was around like hallucination, right? I think for any of us who uses just AI in general, you know that there's always a possibility of AI hallucinating, but machine metrics, part of our job is to get put system in place that, you know, constantly evolving to catch those bad behaviors and hallucinations and correct them so, they don't get in the way of you getting useful insights. Um, so uh, that was like a really fast getting to as many questions as I could there in a short period of time.
There's a question about, is there a preferred ERP? We have a set of
Oh,
ERPs that we build connections for. We are building a connection for Dynamics Nav as we speak. So if that's something you need, do get in touch with us.
yeah, good point. All right, well, here we are. We've arrived, but we haven't, right? Because this is just the beginning. We're gonna have more features, more functionality that will continuously be released throughout this year. Part of buying a SaaS product is you don't just get what you got, you get what's coming, right? And what's coming is so much more. And so for our current customers, prospects, friends, people who are here just for the sheer hell of it, thanks for joining us. We hope that this was a useful webinar. We hope you're all excited. And if you want to contact Rutherford and I, feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn. My email is graham@machinemetrics.com. You can always reach out to me directly, and we will send out the recording to everybody.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.